Well, this is what we're going to start off doing here today. First thing this morning, we're going to work on this 8360. Alex was chisel plowing with us last night and had a hydraulic oil leak. Looks like it started leaking. Well, you can see the oil on the ground right there. Let's see where it started from. Well, I don't see, I see some right, no? That oil there? I don't know. Looks like it started back here somewhere. So we're gonna have to determine where that's coming from. This had new tires put on 3 days ago. It's got BKT. Well, they're all mud now, but it pulls real good now with these new tires on there. And as you can see, they've been into some mud over here. So we're going to determine where this is leaking from. She said something on this right hand side. I think we need to lay in underneath there and try to figure out where it's coming from. I'd actually like somebody over here because I don't want to let that run too long, and it's going to take me a minute to get in and under it. So I've got some cardboard here. We're going to lay underneath it and see if we can't figure out where it's coming from before we start it up. Alright, so I think I have determined where this leak is coming from. And there's these valves on this valve block. I ended up removing one valve already, right where that drip is coming from. Got a couple of plugs unplugged. It's that front one that is leaking for the most part. I think it's an O-ring, so I'm taking these out one at a time, and I'm hoping that valve body is not cracked or anything, but you know, it sprays everywhere, and I'm assuming it's that. It could be a hose laying down here farther, but until I get some help over here to start this and shut this off, I hate starting it and running around the other side to figure out where it's coming from. So I'm just eliminating possibilities first until I get some help over here. Alright, so we are wiggled in here. We've got two of the three little valve guys out of here. I had to remove the back one and the middle one in order to get to this front one. Either that or I have to take some lines off. I'm assuming it's coming from here, but I'm not exactly sure. It wasn't loose. It's coming from this area. We're just eliminating possibilities here. At least it's this tractor and not the one of the other ones that has the wheels moved in on it. The 8320, the wheel would be right in tight to the tractor here. Now I got a phone call. I'm up to my armpits and assholes here. Alright, phone call's over with. Boy, this doesn't look bad. Oh, this one's a longer one with a spring on it. The other ones didn't have a spring in there, I didn't think. This one's different. This O-ring is fine. That's not good. Alright, well, we'll have to wait till we get some help over here, because this looks fine. Alrighty, so here's where we are. Where we are at. So we removed these valves. I was thinking that the O-ring was bad on this one because it was spraying out from that area. I've got those removed. Then I started looking a little deeper and didn't feel that that O-ring was bad at all. Started feeling around on this hose. There's a couple of spots in it, and I just kept flexing the hose, and oil was oozing out of that wound right there. So yes, I removed some things that I didn't have to remove. However, it made it easier to get in down to where that hose is fastened, because these valves were right above it. So we're gonna go back to the shop and get a hose made, and then we've got to bring over some oil to get back into this tractor. We have lost a little bit on the ground, and doesn't appear to have anything on the sight gauge. So we'll head back, get a hose made, and get some oil, and then we'll get back here, get this back together, and then we're gonna try and plant some corn today. This is awful wet here on this farm. It's not awful wet, but it's not ready yet. They'll finish chisel plowing this, and we'll be over planting this. So we got about 300 acres ahead of this. So let's go get a hose made. Well, there's Andrew right there. I had a phone call, so I couldn't break in. He's going over to disc some ground ahead of the corn planter, so I've got to go home, get that hose made, and we'll get on back there, get that hose on so the girls can get chisel plowing. It's kind of gray and gloomy. It's gonna rain here tomorrow, so we'll see what we can get done with today. All right, so we have our hose made. It's sitting on the floor, and we pulled the corn planter in. It is due for an oil change, and this is the last time that it will be around the farm here for a little while anyways, a couple weeks probably. So it fell right on the oil change interval here last night.
Is proudly American.
And now's the time. So we'll jog over to the field, put this hose on, and then we'll get back, throw some oil in that tractor, and we'll get on with it. It's a little overcast and cloudy, but we're supposed to have decent weather today. And yeah. Alright, so we're back over here. We're gonna slap this hose on quick. We've got some more oil to put into it. Alex and Sarah got over here quite a little while ago. They put some oil in, and then we've got some more oil that we're going to put in. So we'll get this hose on and get our little valves put into place. I did have a little mishap with one of them valves, There was a spring up inside the first two that I took out. I was setting them on the floor of the cab here, and right as I set the first one on the floor, I had a little spring come out and it fell down onto the ground. I picked it up and I said, well, if that one's got a spring in it, the other one must have one in it. And it didn't. So I'm like, well, that sucks. So I walked over to here and I found it on the ground. Don't you have a funnel there, Missy? Huh? You don't need one. See, if you do it quick, tuck the other way, you could put that nozzle right in there and then hold the pail right up, but it'll probably gurgle out at you anyways. Yeah. So she's getting the oil in there. It's almost up to where it needs to be. So we'll go ahead and get this hose on now. Alright, so we've got this guy all back together. Just gonna fire up, make sure we ain't got any more leaks. Hydraulic system's loading. Sucking that oil down. Everything's a mucho good in there. So what it was is a hole in that hose, and then that hose was spraying right towards that valve, and then it was draining down. So anytime there's a hydraulic hose leak, do not like look over where it is. Feel it, because that hydraulic oil has such pressure to it that it's like a laser. It'll go right into your, it's like a laser, and it's sharp. It's sharper than a needle, and it'll go right into your skin and it'll inject oil into your skin. So anytime you see a leak or anything, don't touch the hose anywhere. Like if it's leaking up here and you want to see where it is, just kind of do this, but you should do it with the tractor off. Alright, so we're going to load some more oil into this. We've got to get our 2-point arm, our pull arm hooked back together, and then she can get on her way here. Alright, she's going to get rolling now. Sarah's already over here. She's left me a path so I can get on out of here. Alright, we'll head on back to the farm and we'll grab the corn planter. We got to put some oil back in that tractor. And we got to put a little seed in it. And then we'll get to moving. Okay, so we are just getting to the field here now. Andrew, he has been Teradiscing over here. You guys won't be able to recognize this, but this particular farm here is the Samdell property. And if you recall in past videos, well, this was used to be hay. This was hay last year, We are just flipping it over to corn here now. There's a handful of fields in here, and at one time this was a large beef cow ranch, and they had a pasture around every field. Andrew, he's working way over there, so we really can't see what he's doing. He's terradisking with a 9620. Alex and Sarah are still chisel plowing. You can just barely see him on the other side of the hedgerow. He's on cloud 9. So they had a pasture around every field. This is going back 20 to 25 years ago. Maybe it was 30 to 35 years ago is when they had beef cows on this property here. Being that they had a fence that went around every field, after the beef cows left and it started to get farmed again, the fences had got taken down, some of the wire didn't get picked up. We put corn in here the first year we farmed it. Then we flipped it over to alfalfa. And that first year was a mongrel of a time with metal around all of these fields. Now, before we get into the rest of that story, if you recall, some time ago we ended up having a manure tanker that got stuck over here some years ago, and that was in the spring. It was in the winter time, and it took us 2 days to get this manure tanker out. And that spreader got stuck just up here. Gentleman that was working for us at the time, we were offloading up on that pavement patch there where we pulled into the driveway, and the ground was frozen nicely. He was coming down through here. He was over right about here. He's coming down through here with that James Way tanker and a 9320. And it got to be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And right when he got to about this point here, when the tractor started to go up this little knob, he ran out of traction. It was just spinning on top of the ground. So I'm like, well, that's great. Back in the hollow there, that's where the spreader was sunk in just a little bit. It wasn't in the ground only about 4 or 5 inches. Tractor wouldn't pull it up out because up where the tractor was, the ground was hard. He couldn't get traction. So we brought one of the small spreaders over, offloaded into it. You can go back and watch the video. I had a crappy camera at the time, and I really wasn't prepared to do much videoing, and I didn't think it was going to take us that long to get it out. So we were just kind of, every step we went, we were like, all right, this is going to get it, that's going to get it, so on and so forth. So we brought a small spreader over, offloaded the spreader, figured the tractor would drive right out. Nope, wouldn't do it. So we brought the other articulator over, which is the 9410, hooked onto that, 9320 with that, wouldn't touch it. Just, ground was froze. Before the chain would even get tight, that tractor would break traction. So we brought a set of tire chains over. We put them on 9410 because we had spread over here with tire chains on that 9320 before. I don't know if we put them on after that fact or before it, whatever. At any rate, put tire chains on 9410, wouldn't touch it. So we ended up running out of time that one particular day, and we didn't get it out till the following day. Meanwhile, in the meantime, the Spreader had sunk in enough. You know, the tractor, now the ground had thawed out. We're digging in mud. We brought, I don't know if we had the backhoe over here and the mini excavator or just one or the other, but we ended up digging out the tractor all the way around it. We got the tractor pulled out away from the spreader, then we pulled the spreader out. I'll see if I can't put that video thread in this comment section or do whatever. But that's what we ended up with for that. So getting back to all the wire, it took me 2 days to chop this farm at first cut. I thought I was gonna wear the door out. I thought I wore the door out on the chopper, getting in and out of it so many times. As a matter of fact, after that, I would get tripped. I would trip the metal detector with metal. I would just spit everything out that was in the head, pick up over that spot, move on to the next spot. I had 2 to 3 young guys over here with another silage truck and pitchforks. I said, pitch that hay. Then I spit out of the chopper into the back of that truck, and they ended up with several partial loads. Not loaded right up, but piles in the back of the truck where they couldn't throw it any farther, so they dumped it in the hedgerow. This field down in behind us, we ended up putting the outside windrow, we ended up merging it right into the hedgerow because I had tripped the magnet so many times on the chopper that we weren't getting nothing done. The whole time the hay's getting too dry on us, then I was dealing with gumming issues, so on and so forth. So that is the story behind that. So this should grow some good corn in here, being that there's should be quite a bit of nitrogen left in the ground from this alfalfa crop coming out. And we're gonna put BMR silage in here. This is a Pioneer P1449. It's a 114-day variety. It's the best. I really like how that performs. Does really well for us. So what we're doing is we're starting in the furthest point out and we're working our way back to the driveway, and then we will get into the furthest point from there. We'll work our way back to the driveway from there, and then that is how we're going to do it. So it has been 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, 6 years since I've planted corn over here. So we're gonna get on it here. We're gonna get this unfolded. I don't know if I showed you that yet here, but we're gonna go to the field view display. It should tell me a field number. I forget what field number this is. I think it's 583. Well, we'll be back at you in a minute here. Alright, so I was correct. This is field 583 now. We have not transferred our data into this display, so I'm starting over fresh on this. I haven't taken the time to do that yet. I keep thinking that I'm going to have time, but I don't. So on this particular planter, I don't know if I showed you this when we got it or not, but on this planter it folds and unfolds from the monitor or from the actual display. So instead of having a switch box in here, we have the display. You can choose to have this, oh, you got easy fold. We could use easy fold. Again, we'd have our flip-flops on, and yeah, we could have it fold and unfold itself, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to do it manually. So we'll get this unfolded. We'll do our boundary around this field. This is only 2 acres. We'll roll into the next one and we'll just work our way from where we're at here to the driveway. Andrew, he did have a hydraulic oil leak on the Pottinger Terradisc. We had to bring him over hydraulic oil. We'll turn the PTO on. Turn our utilities on. Fill the meters. Accept. Fill. Got seed that spilled out the back. Alright, we should be good to go. We'll turn our solution pump on. Well, that seed fill did not work. You know why it didn't work? I didn't have the vacuum on. So we'll go back a page here. Where is that page? Oh, come on. Oh, where are we here? We're Seed Star Fill. We're filling the meter. Bang, bang. Purge. Yeah, we got seed. Yeah, I can't see it here, but we do have seed on the ground. You guys don't believe me, so we're gonna back up. You got seed on the ground. Bang, 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 bang. All right, so we will get on it here. Boundary around the outside. Once we get the boundary, we'll be able to do our we'll go off of the boundary, and then we can do our second time around. Then we'll just, well, we probably won't even put a guidance sign. We'll just use our boundary fill. So we'll join up in a while here. Alright, so we ended up getting that small little field done, and I forgot to pick up the camera back after I got that done to finish telling you what I was actually doing there. So I actually need to pay attention right at the moment, because we've got power poles peppered across this field, and I don't need to wind up hitting one of them. Got guide wire cables and the whole 9 yards hanging down. It's a good thing I don't have markers on this planter. I might have that marker wound around that telephone pole, power pole. So at any rate, Andrew had a hydraulic leak on the Pottinger Terradisc. He took off earlier that morning. Hydraulic oil was low. Jared looked it over very quickly and said, well, it's just maybe the tractor's low because it loaded the Terradisc with oil when it was brand new, and maybe that's the reason why it's low. He said, oh, all right. So he got the disc in. He was paranoid, got to watching the oil level on that Terradisc, or on the tractor rather, and he says, I'm low again, or now it's getting low. He called me. I was still back at the shop. I was putting oil in the, actually no, I had oil with me because I took more oil than I needed, or something like that. I can't remember which now, but at any rate, I had oil with me. And yeah, did I actually have oil with me? No, Sarah brought oil over. Sarah brought oil over. We got that tractor filled up, and we got to looking at the Terradisc. Right in behind the main frame, one of the hydraulic functions that raises and lowers the actual packer wheels, we had a leak. I said, well, we'll tighten that up. And I'm fiddling around. Of course, I told you earlier on that, you know, hey, don't run your fingers around hydraulic oil leaks. But the tractor was off, I felt in there, and oh, that nut's loose. I'll tighten that one up. 4 of them all in a row, all loose, hand tight. So I'm like, well, that's not good. We might have rubber O-rings that are not going to be any good, because if this oil had been, these fittings have been loose, we could have rubber O-rings that are going to be mucho no good. So we tightened up all 4 fittings. I got a couple of them tight, and I said, what in the heck? Why would all 4 of these loosen up? They all had lines on them. Like, hey, I've checked this. These are tight. All the lines matched up with each other. I found it awful ironic that those 4 fittings all loosened up one whole turn. I don't think they loosened up one whole exact turn. I think what happened was the guy that was supposed to be tightening them fittings up had an idea. He thought he tightened them up, and then he just went through and put a blue Sharpie line on the fittings. I didn't have the camera out to film it or anything, and it is what it is. So we are running down our last pass in this field, and I see that I don't have anything from that event, and we end up rolling into the next event, and you'll see that coming up in the next video. We actually had or have some problems with the inferno system that was on this planter. You'll learn a little bit more from that in the next couple of videos here. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one.